All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. This is Todd with MHN Media Happening Now. I have a list for you to read. Congressional Record Appendix, pages A34 through A35, current communist goals. This is an extension of remarks of Honorable A.S. Herlong Jr. of Florida in the House of Representatives, Thursday, January 10th, 1963. There you have it. All right. I'm going to read these off to you, and I want you to tell me, given that this is back in 1963, if you agree that you've seen these things happen or that they have happened, or if you see them going on now, or if they could possibly happen in the future. Are you ready? Here we go. 1 through 45. Current communist goals. You see if this is happening in America or not. Are we breaking things down this way or not? Number 1, U.S. acceptance of coexistence. Now remember, this is originally back from 1963. Oh, and by the way, this is a excerpt from The Naked Communist by Cleon Skousen. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Cleon Skousen, Skousen. So number 1, current communist goals. Now remember, 1963. Number 1, U.S. acceptance of coexistence as the alternative to atomic war. Now again, have these things already happened? Are they happening now? Are they going to happen? Number 2, U.S. willingness to capitulate in preference to engaging in atomic war. Number 3, develop the illusion that total disarmament by the United States would be a demonstration of moral strength. Number 4, permit free trade between all nations regardless of communist affiliation and regardless of whether or not items could be used for war. Number 5, extension of long-term loans to Russia and Soviet satellites. Not satellites in space. We're not loaning money in space. Surrounding countries. 6, provide American aid to all nations regardless of communist domination. Number 7, grant recognition of Red China and admission of Red China to the UN. 8, set up East and West Germany as separate, again, now remember, this is 1963, set up East and West Germany as separate states in spite of Khrushchev's promise in 1955 to settle the German question by free elections under supervision of the UN. Number 9, prolong the conferences to ban atomic tests because the United States has agreed to suspend tests as long as negotiations are in progress. Number 10, allow all Soviet satellites, again, not floating around in space, no. Allow all Soviet satellites individual representation to the UN. Number 11, promote the UN as the only hope for mankind. It's the only hope for mankind. All right, let's get serious. Stop it. If its charter is rewritten, demand that it be set up as a one world government or New World Order. Where did that come from? Do you hear that? With its own independent armed forces. Some communist leaders believe the world can be taken over, this is in parentheses at the end of it, can be taken over as easily by the UN as by Moscow. Sometimes these two centers compete with each other as they are doing now in the Congo. Now again, this is 1963, but you can, change some of the names and the wording to current day stuff and see where it applies and how it applies. Number 12, resist any attempt to outlaw the Communist Party. 13, do away with all loyalty oaths. Doesn't matter if you're Boy Scouts, law enforcement, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, anywhere where you would take an oath, do away with it. 14, continue giving Russia access to the U.S. Patent Office. Again, this is 1963, but 15, and by the way, this list was given to me recently by a friend. This was read in front of the House of Representatives, right? 15, capture one or both of the political parties in the United States. Now, I would argue that I think both parties have been captured. I think that's pretty clear, but you guys give me your opinion down below. 16, use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights. 17, get control of the schools. Wow. Where have we seen that going on? Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum, aka dumbing people down. I don't know, you tell me. Get control of teachers' associations. Where have we seen that going on recently? Sometimes these two centers compete with each other as they are now doing in the... Oh, sorry. Wrong one. I'll be all right. Lost my place. Get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of teachers' associations. Put the party line in textbooks. 18, gain control of all student newspapers. 19, use student riots to foment public protests against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. 20, infiltrate the press. Get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, and policy making decisions. Bruh. Where have we seen or heard this stuff going on? And I say brah because you could be a boy or you could be a girl. So it's kind of a combination of bro and could be brah, you know. Yeah. All right. Or I could be an undercover surfer guy like, yeah, brah, what's up, brah? Go to the beach, man. All right, we're getting off topic. Stop it. 21, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. 22, continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to, quote unquote, eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings. Substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms, end quote. Where have we seen that happen? 23, control art critics and directors of art museums. Quote, our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art, end quote. And some people might think that's a minor one, like, oh, who cares about art museums and this and that, but that's how you get a hold of the roots of a culture. 24, eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Some people say obscenity, right? Tomato, right? 25, break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. This is again 1963. Where have we possibly seen all of this going on for the past, how many decades? Since 1963, right? I don't know, you let me know below. 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as quote unquote normal, natural, and healthy. Where has that been happening? 27, infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion. This is revealed or revealed. I think there's a typo here. religion with social, quote unquote, social religion. Discredit the Bible. Whole lot of that going on. And emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a quote unquote religious crutch. 28. Eliminate prayer in any phase of religious expression in the schools on the grounds that it violates the principle of quote unquote separation of church and state. And in parentheses it says, remember these goals were published to expose them in 1958. Coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. That's like a big giant question mark there, right? 29. Discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. I'm not going to say his name. I want you to think of him. He was a president that said that the Constitution was basically just a living document. 30. Discredit the American founding fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the quote-unquote Commonwealth. Granted, these guys weren't perfect. Nobody's perfect. But where have you seen that going on? Everywhere. Who said that? "31. Belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the grounds that it was only a minor part of the quote-unquote big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since the communists took over." Now this could be, again, this is 1963, so this could be, more emphasis on who's taken over. It could be anybody now, right? You got to remember too, this is just my personal opinion, each country, Russia, China, the United States, all the big industrialized countries, even the smaller ones, it has to be run like a corporation to be successful, right? And I really don't think that, my personal opinion, I don't think Russia is trying to take over the United States. I think they would like to do business with us. I think they would like to do business with other countries because they would like to have wealth and economic prosperity for their country, just like we would. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's my opinion. Now, China, I think China specifically, not the Chinese people, not the citizens, but more so the Chinese government. I think they would love to take over the United States, as we see with buying up all the land and so on and so on. Number 32, support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. We've seen that. Where have we seen it? You've seen it. You've seen it. Don't try to play. 33, eliminate all laws or procedures which interfere with the operation of the communist apparatus. There's been a whole lot of that going on, I think, right? 34, eliminate the House Committee on Un-American Activities. 35, discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. Lordy. Dear Jesus, lad, where have we seen that going on? There's a lot of bad actors in the FBI. Is that being done on purpose? You tell me. 36, infiltrate and gain control of more unions. A lot of the unions are gone now. Again, this is 63. It's 1963. 37, infiltrate and gain control of big business. It's pretty much completed, guys. Mission accomplished. Again, this is 1963. 38, transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. Now, we've seen kind of beginnings of that with like anti-gun laws and red flag laws and stuff like that. Oh, it's a psychiatric problem, it's a mental problem. Don't try to play. 39, dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. Bada boom, bada bing. 40, discredit the family as an institution, encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. Dear Jesus. Where have we seen this going on for how many decades now? The destruction of the family, family court, how many state agencies do you need to get in between parents and their children? Family court, all the people involved in that, judges, attorneys, clerks, and so on. Guardian ad litems, family court attorneys. Then you've got children's counselors that are separate from guardian ad litems. You've got DCF, Department of Children and Families. You've got CPS, Child Protective Services, I think it is. Ask yourself how many statists or state agencies are needed to get in between parents and their children, particularly fathers, it seems, right? Don't get me started. Stop it. I mean, 41, emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents, attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents. 42. Okay, let's move on. I'm not going to get started. Stop. 42. Create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition, that students and special interest groups should rise up and use united force to solve economic, political, or social problems. 43. Overthrow all colonial governments before native populations are ready for self-government. Think about that one. Really think about that one. That's here. That's number 43, right there. Sorry, somebody sneezed in the background. Producers, what are you going to do? 44, internationalize the Panama Canal. That's basically already been done. China controls it now. Again, this list is from 1963. 45, last but not least, repeal the Connolly Reservation so the United States cannot prevent the World Court from seizing jurisdiction over domestic problems. Give the World Court jurisdiction over nations and individuals alike. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. All right. Don't get me started. Stop it. Leave your comments below. I will see you next time.